Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I wish I'd gotten to in 2019. So I made this video around this time last year and I have a big old stack of books here that I wish I had had time to read in 2019. Now these are all 2019 releases, and when I buy or put on my wish list a 2019 release, or next year it'll be a 2020 release, it is generally because I intend to read it pretty soon, because you guys have probably heard me say 100 times, my shelves, these ones, they don't fit hardbacks on them, and a lot of new releases these days are released in hardback first. So if I'm not too bothered about a book, then I will just wait for it to come into paperback. So these are all the books I've acquired this year that are 2019 releases that I was pretty desperate to read when I got them, but time has gotten away from me. We are at the end of the year and I have not read these books. So I have 8 books to talk to you guys about today. I wanted to do 10, but in the end I could only find these 8 that I really very desperately wanted to get to this year and that I still very desperately want to read. I do still have a few more 2019 releases hanging around that I haven't got to yet, but they are not included in this video either because I just got them in paperback or because they're not like a super top priority. So I'm going to hop straight into them, but I am going to start with an honourable mention, and the honourable mention is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. And the reason that this is an honourable mention is because I may possibly read this month. It is on my December TBR because Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction might be reading it this month, and she did mention a buddy read, but it depends if I have time, if she has time, and it's not on my official Bookopoly TBR. So this is one that I very much want to get to. I haven't read it yet, but 2019 is not quite finished and there is a very slim chance that I may still yet read this one. This one was also gifted to me by Elizabeth, so once again thank you Elizabeth for sending this my way. But The Starless Sea is a highly anticipated book. It is by the same author as The Night Circus, which is everybody and their mother's favourite book. I enjoyed The Night Circus. I believe I gave it 4 stars. There were aspects of it I didn't like. I thought it was very vague, but I'm very intrigued by this premise, and so I think I'm really going to enjoy this one. As well as that, my reading taste has matured quite a bit since I read The Night Circus. Back in those days, I was reading a lot of young adult things like The Mortal Instruments, which is like more paranormal urban fantasy based, but since then I have come to love books such as Strange the Dreamer, which have a much more elaborate writing style, and I think there is a chance that I may appreciate Erin Morgenstern a lot more at the age I am now, as opposed to the age I was when I read The Night Circus. So the plot of this is a little bit hazy. I have actually listened to a few people give a synopsis of this recently who are actually reading it, and they are still a little bit unsure because it is kind of elaborate, and with Erin Morgenstern's beautiful prose, I imagine it will be a little bit vague. But from what I know of this, it does follow a young man who is in the library where he finds a book, and I believe that the book chronicles some sort of parallel story that's happening. It starts off as like a book of fairy tales and then it quickly diverges into a story that mimics the story of the main character's life. I believe at some point in this he does find himself in a labyrinth, and he has 3 clues, which are a key, a bee and a sword, which will help him on his journey. This is very reminiscent of Strange the Dreamer to me. Erin Morgenstern has a very beautiful writing style like Laini Taylor does, and the main character sounds a lot like Laszlo Strange. I don't actually expect it to be too much like Strange the Dreamer, aside from a little bit in style, so I'm not holding like super high hopes that are impossible to reach because I really love Strange the Dreamer, but I do expect great things from this one, and I do hope that I will be able to get to it before the end of 2019. So now for these 7 books that I 100% do not have a hope in hell's chance of reading this year. I'm not going in any particular order aside from the order that they are in this stack. So the first one we have is The Devouring Gray by Christine Lynn Herman. I believe that my best friend Ryan got me this for my birthday. I was very excited about it. I was really interested in what everybody was saying about this, and I believe that the early buzz around this book compared it to Stranger Things, Riverdale, and The Raven Boys. Now I do like Riverdale, I know. I really like angsty car crash TV, in my defense. I love Stranger Things and I haven't read The Raven Boys, but this sounded like something that I really wanted to read, especially this fall. But you guys know I moved this fall, and so any time for reading a lot just went straight out the window. So what I know about the plot of this is that it follows a girl who moves back to her mother's hometown, and in this town there is something called the Grey, which I'm not not sure if it is a fog or if there is something living in the fog, but this fog encroaches on this small town in New York State, I think. And there are several founding families in this town, and it is their responsibility to keep back the grey. Now, when our main character arrives in this town, she discovers that her mother and therefore herself are also part of a founding family, which makes it also her responsibility to hold back the grey. That is all I know about this. I heard a lot of good reviews about it. I've heard some average reviews on it, but I don't think I've heard any downright bad reviews. This is still one that I'm very interested in getting to. It is unlike most of my anticipated books in general because it is quite short. It's more urban fantasy than high fantasy, but there's something about this that I find really intriguing and I really want to get to it. So you guys probably know that I am a huge fan of East Asian inspired fantasy. I do have 2 in this pile. I have more that I've acquired this year, but of all of the ones that I've acquired, these are the ones that I was most hyped about. And the first one of those is Descendant of the Crane by Jo and He, which was probably my most hyped East Asian fantasy release of the year, as you can tell with the fact that I haven't read it yet. So this one was gifted to me by Cody for my birthday. It is a beautiful, beautiful hardback edition, and I was just completely drawn in by the cover of this. I think this came on my radar right at the end of 2018, and I really, really wanted to read it. Now, at the moment, I am struggling with starting new series. I don't particularly want to until I've wrapped up a lot of the ones that I have outstanding, which is over 20. So anything that's kind of starting a new series, I've kind of tried to avoid, which is one of the reasons why so many of these books have gone unread. But I believe that this follows a princess who doesn't really want to be the queen, but her father unexpectedly dies, leaving the kingdom in her control. People are thinking that he died of natural causes, but she thinks that he was assassinated, and so she makes it her mission to find out who killed her father and why. Pretty standard fantasy plot, but I'm really excited about the world in this. As I said, I love East Asian fantasy, and honestly, it is just the settings. I find the settings really atmospheric, and in some aspects, especially in royalty aspects, I just find them so luxurious, and it's a culture that I really like to read about. But sadly, I didn't get to it this year, and hopefully I'll get to it next year. The second one that I sadly will not get to is Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nyan. Now, this is the sequel to Girls of Paper and Fire. I believe I think I read that this year. Was it earlier this year? It could have been late last year, but this is the second book in the series, and this series follows a girl called Lei, and in this world you have 3 casts. The highest ranked cast is the demon cast, and the lowest ranked cast is the human cast, and the human cast are called the paper cast, and then we have an in-between cast that are somewhere in between demon and human. Now, the king is of the demon cast, and every year he recruits a group of paper girls who essentially become his concubines, and they are sexually assaulted, essentially. Some of them want to be there, some of them are kind of trained or prepared to be there from birth, and some of them, like Lei, are forcibly taken and made to be the king's concubine. I believe that this one is Malaysian inspired, and I really enjoyed the first book. There were some aspects that I didn't like about it, but it was a debut, so I'm very interested to see how this leaves off from the last story, because I think it will be in a very different setting. This series does also have a female-female relationship, and I do think that the female-female relationship in this was really well done. These 2 characters have a lot of chemistry, but I'm also interested to see how that will evolve in a different setting. One of the reasons that I haven't read this, because I do tend to prioritize continuations in series, is that I did only just recently get this one. This was gifted to me by Kimberly, so thank you once again, Kimberly, for this. So the next one is a little bit different than everything else that is in this stack, and this one was kindly gifted to me by Rachel from Rachel Marie's Book Journey for my birthday, so thank you, Rachel. These books do, like, most of them were gifted to me, and the reason for that is that I do tend to add new releases to my wish list. I will always pre-order new releases myself if they are by my favorite authors or the ones that I like desperately need to get my hands on. Everything else that I'm kind of intrigued about or want to get to sometime soon but are not a super priority, I do put on my wish list, which is why a lot of these have been gifted. And as you can tell, these are right from the beginning of the year, so like 4 of the ones in this stack are from my birthday alone, and I've just been really shoddy about reading 2019 releases this year. So this one was from Rachel, and this one is a little bit different because this is Peace and Turmoil by Elliot Brooks. Now, I have to admit, I do not know a lot about this, aside from that it is an adult epic fantasy. Now, the reason that I was interested in this is because Elliot Brooks writes it, and if you are unfamiliar with who Elliot is, I will link her channel down in my description box, because she is one of my, is she my favorite? She's probably my favorite high fantasy booktuber, in that she pretty much exclusively she reviews fantasy, and I do get a lot of my adult high fantasy recommendations from her because she does tend to read the really thick books that have like 20 books in the series that a lot of people are intimidated by. So I wanted this for two reasons. One, I really wanted to support her as this is a self-published book, and two, because she reads a lot of stuff I'm really interested in, I think that she will write something that I'm really interested in. I don't generally buy YouTuber books or booktuber books, but because the genres that Elliot reads and reviews are so close to the books that I really enjoy, I really wanted this one. So I can't tell you too much about it. Because of that, I am quite happy to go into this surprise, but I do know that it is an adult epic high fantasy. It is multi-perspective, and I don't think I've seen any bad reviews of this. Next up, we have a book that Curtis bought for me for my birthday, but I bought it myself. He gave me the money back because I think it was released 2 days after my birthday, and the sequel is released on my birthday next year, so the same thing will happen again. But that is Aurora Rising by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Now, there is a very good reason, or a kind of good reason, why I haven't read this yet. So first off, this is the Goldsboro edition, which is why I bought it, because I had to buy it as soon as it went on sale, and then Curtis just gave me the money back for it and gave it to me for my birthday. So this is a signed first edition. It's number 418, I think, out of 500, and it has purple sprayed edges. So this is the first book in the second series that Amy Kaufman and J. Kristoff have co-wrote together. Now, at the time that I got this, I don't think I had even read Illuminate, but J. Kristoff is my favorite author of all time, so I did really want this one. Now, the reason that I have not yet read it is because I haven't finished the Illuminate files. If you can see, I think it's just here. Obsidio is on my December TBR, and I will be reading that very soon. You don't have to read the Illuminate files before you read Aurora Rising. They are two completely separate series. I just like to read books in publication order because I feel like if you think of anybody gaining skills, they are more skilled later on than they are earlier on. So I never kind of want to read a book by an author that is the 20th book they've written and it be absolutely phenomenal. So I want to read more from them and then go back to their first book, which isn't as well written or as well crafted because it was the first book that they ever read. So I do like to start at the beginning and then make my way through an author's work, which is why I haven't got to Aurora Rising yet, because I haven't finished the Illuminate files. If all had gone to plan, I would have already finished the Illuminate files and have read this by now, but as I said, I haven't been reading a whole ton the last couple of months, but this is one that I will definitely get to soon. I'm thinking that if I do actually get to Obsidio this month, then the next time sci-fi comes up on Bookopoly, I will be reading Aurora Rising. So I only know a little bit about this one, but I do think it follows a boy who is about to graduate flight school, and he is top of his class. He has done absolutely amazing at his exams, but he is about to go and graduate when he is held up by something, and at the graduation ceremony he is supposed to be picking his crew. Now, he does get held up, and by the time he gets there, all of the best people have gone and he is left with this ragtag group, and they then have to go on a mission. I believe that they find a girl trapped in a star or something like that. She's been trapped in cryosleep for 2 centuries and he rescues her, and yeah, that's all I know about this, but I really like J. Kristoff and I love J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman together as well, so I do think I will really enjoy this one. Now, I just realised that there is actually another East Asian fantasy on here that I forgot to put with the other East Asian fantasies, but this one was not technically gifted to me, but I did win it in a giveaway, which is the only giveaway I've ever won, and that is the Dragon Republic by R.F. Kong, which was sent to me by the publisher Harper Voyager when I won a giveaway. Now, this is another sequel. This is the sequel to The Poppy War by R.F. Kong, which is a book that I read, I think, in January this year, and I didn't love it as everybody else loved it. So The Poppy War is a story that follows Rin, who is from a very poor province in her country. Now, in this country, if you are incredibly intelligent, you can go to a series of academies, and essentially Rin is like 2 steps away from having a marriage arranged for her by her foster parents, or I think it's her aunt and uncle maybe, but she is determined that she is not going to be somebody's wife, and so she trains really hard to get into one of these academies, and when she tests really highly, she does pick the military academy as it is the only one that is free to attend, and she has no money. So the first book is told in a few parts. We have like the training montage and the time spent at the academy, but the bulk of the story is about war, because while Rin is training at this academy, war breaks out between the country that she lives in and a neighbouring country, and it very quickly becomes about the atrocities of war and how these children, pretty much, who were training to be in the army or to be generals in the military, now have to actually go to war, and that is very different from what they expected from training for war. So a lot of trigger warnings in that book. There is also a magic system that centres around shamanism. I did not enjoy it as much as everybody else did. I gave the book 3.5 stars, and I had some issues with it, but like with any book from a debut author, as long as I'm remotely interested in the story, which I did really like the story of the Poppy War, I will continue to read the sequel to see if the things I didn't like are improved upon. So I got the Dragon Republic. It was sent to me in a giveaway. This wasn't a huge priority for me because like I said, I didn't like the Poppy War. So I was waiting for it to come into my library, but I saw a giveaway, I entered, and I won the Dragon Republic. I just haven't gotten to this. Essentially, that is the only reason I haven't read this, but I do really want to read this because I want to be able to see if the things that I disliked about the Poppy War have been adapted upon or improved. And the Poppy War isn't a series that I generally recommend. I always kind of highlight the things that I didn't like about it if I do recommend it, if I think it's good to fulfill a readathon prompt or something. But yeah, I want to read the Dragon Republic because I want to see whether I would recommend this series, because there have been times where I haven't particularly loved the first book in a series, but I think like the second or third book is excellent. So hopefully we'll be able to get to this one soon, especially because I don't want to have to reread the Poppy War. And the last book we have on here, I am so sad about. This is actually, it's still on my currently reading on Goodreads, but I'm not going to read it this year. This is my second most anticipated release of 2019, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Now, I've tried to read this. I had it on my October TBR and I read 50 pages, but I was behind with the reading for my book club, the Catch Up Book Club, where I'm reading the A Song of Ice and Fire series. And then I put it on my November TBR, but I just read so little in November that again, I prioritized the book club reads for the live show I was doing and didn't read Ninth House. So this is one that I'm pretty sure I will read as soon as possible. I am currently, well, I need to talk to Jade actually. We are buddy reading Leigh Bardugo's Grishaverse. So I think when we've read King of Scars, I may then pick this up just so I've read everything that Leigh Bardugo's published and I don't have this just like one book that I haven't finished. But the 50 pages of this that I read, I really enjoyed. It's just time. But after the Christmas period, life should get a little less hectic and I'm hoping to read a hell of a lot more. I do also have some cool plans for 2020 which will hopefully push me to read a little bit more just of excitement of making those videos. So we'll see about this one. But this is Leigh Bardugo's first adult novel, which is something I'm very excited about because one of the kind of criticisms that I had of Six of Crows is that I feel like the story would have flourished in an adult setting, and that the book to me felt constrained by being in young adult because it dealt with a lot of heavy topics and serious topics and pretty grim topics. And I feel like adult was the right place for Six of Crows to be, and then it would have had a lot more freedom and been better. I did really enjoy that book. It felt restrained to me. So I'm really excited about this because Leigh Bardugo I think has massive potential to write in the adult genre. I think she's gonna write some really deliciously dark stories. But this one follows a girl called Alex Stern who can see ghosts, and because of this ability she is scouted while she's in hospital and given a free scholarship to Yale, even though she is a high school dropout, I believe. And she's given this scholarship on the condition that she joins the 9th Secret Society of Yale, which is Leith. Now, there are 8 other secret societies at Yale, and I believe the 8 other ones are all real secret societies. The only one that's invented in this book is Leith, and in this story, the 8 secret societies all practice different kinds of occult magic, and the 9th one is there to make sure that the occult practices of the other secret societies don't get out of hand. In this book, you follow 2 timelines. You have Alex and you also have Darlington. The Darlington timeline is in the past because in the Alex timeline, Darlington has gone missing, and I'm assuming that there is a mystery to figure out what happened to him. So very excited to read this one. I do really hope that this is one that I can get to soon because, as I said, it was my second most anticipated release of the year and I haven't read it. So so those are the 8 books that I did not read in 2019 that I really wanted to get to. Some of these are very high priorities. Like I said, we have Ninth House and Aurora Rising I think will be read pretty soon. I also want to try with the Dragon Republic and also Girls of Storm and Shadow, because those are sequels and I don't particularly want to leave it so long that I have to reread the first books in those series. I think that's about it for this video, so please let me know which 2019 release you guys were most excited for and did not get to, or let me know if you have read any of these and which ones were your favorites and which ones of the ones that I haven't said are priorities that you guys think I should prioritize. But that is it from me today, guys, so please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to. If you head into my description box, you will find a link to my Christmas I Might crowdfunder if you would like to donate to that, as well as a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, and a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website, the Instagram for that, and a 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today, guys. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.